Every take is gonna be. All right. That's slower than a tourist walks in Midtown. Okay. You want a photo, brother? Yeah. Yeah. Let's take one. Yes. That's me. Yes.
Excuse me, I need to take a photo.
Yeah. We can take one.
I voted somebody that won.
Thank
something.
you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We're on our way. Thank you. Yeah. No worries. Thank you. How's it going, guys? Thank you.
Hi, I'm Andrew Cuomo, heading to Staten Island today on the Staten Island Ferry. Good luck to you. Thank you for what you do. Good to see you. How are you? Good to see you, buddy. How about the prosciutto? That's delicious.
Nice to meet you.
How does this city treat you? What interactions do you have?
Absolutely none, besides get my tax bills.
I might be your biggest supporter in the city.
Thank you.
Affordability, you should definitely run.
Yes.
Free? No.
I love putting those two things side by side because now that we are in the general election for New York City, you have Mamdani, Zohran Mamdani, who won the primary, was so engaging and so personal. People were flooding him on the streets. He's got such charm and charisma. And Andrew Cuomo was criticized for being stiff and absent. And he seemed like he had disdain for New York. Well, that's Cuomo now trying to emulate, copy Zohran Mamdani and be a little bit more out there and engage with voters. I don't know, John Nichols, Nation, my translator for Democrats out in the wild beyond New York City. What do you think? Does it work?
I think it works for Mamdani. I'm not sure how well it works for Cuomo, but Cuomo's learning. I mean, he's recognizing that two things. Number one, he lost that primary, at least in part, because people really didn't think he was very engaged with the city.
Yeah.
So that's right off the bat. Two, he's not the only politician who's looking at what Mamdani's done with these street videos and saying, I got to start doing that. I'm hearing that. I was in Washington recently. They're all watching Mamdani videos, like members of Congress. Like, how do I do that?
Are they studying them?
Yes.
Taking notes?
Absolutely.
Talk to camera.
Yeah.
Engage with people next to me.
Go in the halal food truck with the guy and talk to him about chicken and rice. But talk about chicken and rice and then come out around the truck and talk about what you're going to do to lower prices. And so I think, give Cuomo the credit for, recognizing that that's how to do it. But it is a little painful there because look at that. Mamdani's out there and everybody is running up. I want a selfie with you. I want to hug you. I want to, be around you. And Cuomo is, how's the prosciutto? There's a little difference there.
There's also a generational divide there. There's a political experience divide there. He's very old school, came up a different way, and Zohran Mamdani is engaging with a new media landscape that a lot of the politicians in the Democratic Party never had to engage with before.
Never even knew it existed.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this is the interesting thing.
Still barely know it exists.
Oh, I go to Washington. It's amazing, explaining AI, right? And some members of Congress really know what it is, but there's a lot who are like, what? And so when you get into this actual comfortable, let's shoot a video, right? And with the Mamdani people, they do that, right? They're out on the street and they say, hey, let's do something here. And it's very, it's easy. It's like a second nature.
Yeah.
And part of that is being 33 years old. If you grew up marinated in social media, right, just literally with it everywhere around you, that can be a bad thing. We don't want necessarily our kids to be always living on social media, but it also makes you native, right? You're comfortable to it.
Well, I mean, you can look back at history. FDR came up and became president during the advent of radio.
Yep.
And he was able to use that medium to his advantage. He mastered the medium with the fireside chats. JFK, TV was suddenly a thing. He knew how to debate. He knew how to look. He was polished. Nixon sweating off in the corner.
Terrible.
He was a master of that form. Donald Trump, social media, master of that form. Is Mamdani now going to be the prototype for a master of this newer version of social media where it is the only way you communicate and engage with people out there, your voters, your constituencies?
Totally. Yes, is the answer.
Yeah.
One of the things that we don't understand, and I've written a lot of books about this, social media evolves every couple of years. you look back at what we had 10 years ago, and you're like, wow, we were living in
I was taking pictures of pie and putting filters on them.
Ancient history there, right? I don't even know how that worked. And I'm old enough to look back and say, I don't even know how I planned a trip to the Middle East or something, because now I just go online and hotel, whatever, I could get all these things together. Everything about how we communicate has been changed by the digital revolution. Now, a lot is being changed by AI and by all sorts of other technological changes. And one of the biggest changes is that a friend of mine told me this the other day. He said, I sit on the subway, I go on the subway every day. I look around me and I see everybody's now on their phone watching one short video after another.
Yeah.
Well, who is the candidate who's associated with short videos?
It's Mamdani. I mean, you're watching a short video until your phone freezes because you're in the middle of a tunnel, and for some reason in the year 2025, there still is no Wi-Fi down in the New York City subways. That's the form, and I've heard you talk about, and I think it's right, that Democrats need to try to engage with the form, learn the form. What about the content?
Yeah.
Mamdani's content is sticky. It is relatable. He has a very easy to understand agenda, and people identify with it. I need it to be more affordable in this city. But when you get down to the nitty-gritty of it, is it actually plausible that he's going to get a lot of what he is promising done? Is that important to not only say, here's what I'm going to deliver, and then deliver it?
Yeah, this is a challenging reality. And Mamdani goes back as a reference point to Fiorello LaGuardia, right? LaGuardia was a stunningly successful mayor, quite radical.
Was he a Democratic Socialist?
He ran on the Socialist Party line for Congress once in 24 because they wouldn't let him on. LaGuardia was a Republican who then associated with the left very, very much, the American Labor Party and things like that. We could go into a lot of detail, but the bottom line is that LaGuardia was a mayor on the left. And he came to the mayoralty in the midst of the Great Depression with a lot of promises. However, he had a Democratic governor who was somewhat sympathetic to him. He had a Democratic president in Franklin Roosevelt. Now, for Mamdani, this is the challenge. He comes to the mayoralty, if he wins, which is still, we could talk about the fall.
Yeah.
But if he wins, he comes in with a governor who he's building a relationship with. We'll see where that ends up.
So far, she said, I'm not going to raise taxes. She's pushed back on that.
There's a lot of challenges there, and I think something could happen. But he's also going to have a president who literally is...
Who wants to storm the barriers.
Well, more than that, they're calling him every name in the book.
Yeah, he's calling him a communist.
Yeah.
But it's not even just raising taxes. Ari Melber surfaced this, and I think it's great. Here's what Mamdani wants to do. We have affordable housing, $70 billion, free childcare, $5 to $8 billion, free buses, $700 million per year, city-owned grocery stores, $60 million per year. Here's the revenue that he wants to bring in: $4 billion for a 2% income tax on millionaires, $5 billion for an 11.5% corporate tax. Okay, that's more revenue. But that doesn't outweigh the costs here. And here's what I wonder. It's like he's love bombing New York City with all that he can offer, but is he going to be the boyfriend that continues to love bomb if he becomes the husband? I mean, I was talking to one of my producers, and her version of this is Harry and When Harry Met Sally. Mm-hmm. Harry's very adamant about making the point that you have to set expectations where you can meet them. He never takes you to the airport in the beginning of the relationship, because when you don't take them to the airport later in the relationship, suddenly what's wrong?
This is why you're totally wrong about this.
Tell me.
I'm sorry. Because, look, I certainly don't claim to know much about relationships. But what I will tell you is this, that when, in life, we often, when you have a new job, when you are, with new people, when you're going the first day of school, you're your best self. Over time, you evolve into relationships with the people you know, and you are yourself, perhaps more, maybe more imperfect, maybe not, always showing up and doing exactly the right thing. The key to that is the level of communication, and this gets back to the start of our conversation. Mamdani will, if he gets elected, become mayor in very difficult and challenging times. If he is able to communicate in a real and strong and consistent way with people and say, look, here's what I ran on, here's what I'm trying to do, here are where the barriers are, etc. Some people will stray from that. But there will be other people who say, you know what? I haven't had the political figure who leveled with me on a regular basis and kind of walked me through this.
What if he doesn't make the city more affordable? I mean,
if it's a total failure, he will lose. But if there are successes along the way and explanations for how the sausage is made, if you will, how government runs.
Yeah.
And this gets to be the challenge. We don't know the answer to this question. But what I can tell you is that Ronald Reagan, as an example, was referred to as the great communicator, right? Reagan had a lot of really bad stuff happen during his presidency and was able to go on TV, explain things, and
but it happened during the presidency.
Well,
it happened in the middle of it, and he had to say, here's the challenge that we are suddenly facing. If you're coming out and promising from the get-go that you can do all these things, and you get there and you can't do all these things. I want to broaden this out to a larger conversation, though, about the Democrats, because I don't want to make it so small ball in New York City. I want to talk about what it's going to mean for the Democratic Party in general, and what sort of message will work for them in not just the midterms, but the next election. Mamdani obviously is somebody who's been able to capture attention, but he's not experienced. And then you have, and I'm going to use Cuomo here just as an example for our conversation. Take out this scandal. Cuomo's very experienced.
Massively.
Very experienced. He's also gotten a lot done. He legalized gay marriage, codified abortion rights into state law, enacted the nation's strictest gun control law, reformed the state's tax system, boosted the minimum wage to $15 an hour, which is among the highest in the nation. Tuition-free college for SUNY and CUNY students for families earning under $125,000 a year. A statewide 12-week paid family leave law. Oversaw the reconstruction of some big projects like the Tappan Zee Bridge, LaGuardia, the airport, which suddenly is no longer an S-hole.
Pretty nice airport.
Yeah. JFK is in the process of it. Moynihan train station, which is beautiful.
Okay.
Second Avenue subway, it promised for decades and decades and decades. It was finished, or at least portion of it was finished under him. So he's gotten a lot done. And these are liberal agenda items. These are big ticket liberal agenda items, but no one likes them.
Well, why didn't he run on that?
I mean, he did. He just didn't message it
in the primary, he was. If he had done an ad in the primary where he was popping around the city and say, "You like LaGuardia?" You know what I mean? And like talking about all these things, right? Would that have been much better for him? Of course. But instead, this is the problem for Cuomo, is he ran a campaign that didn't
take Cuomo out of it.
About who he was.
Is the strategy for the Democratic Party, should it be likability or effectiveness? Cuomo, not likable, effective. Mamdani, very likable. Who knows how effective he is? He doesn't have the experience. If the Democrats are choosing somebody in the next election cycle, it seems like what they have right now is a lot of the old guard who have dipped their toe in, and then who knows who else is going to come in. What is the better version? Can you have both likable and somebody who has a record of being effective?
Well, if we go up to the presidential level, right?
Yeah.
That's what Andy Beshear is trying to do. That's what some other people are trying to do. They're trying to say, look, Beshear is an example, just using him as an example, is in a very red state, able to do, quite a few things. Not everything, but, a bit of a success story there. And very likable. And, kind of pushing that. Walz works that territory as well. Other people. Here's the answer to it. It's an authenticity question. I think that Zohran Mamdani is authentically likable.
Yeah.
Right? It's real. It's not an act like I'm trying to be nice and then when he turns away, he's authentically likable. He's authentically a very good communicator. And he effectively put together a primary campaign that went from about 2% in the polls to beating the former governor of New York.
Yeah.
So there's a lot there. There are real things to talk about there. But it's the authenticity, I think, that it becomes key. And if you can maintain that, you can maintain a relationship for quite a while. But you don't always have to be particularly charming. Mamdani says that the person who is his touchstone, right, the person who really drew him into politics is Bernie Sanders, right? I've known Bernie Sanders for a long time. Senator Sanders can be very funny and very charming, but he doesn't really push that side of himself all that much.
No, he can be very gruff and
yeah,
very sharp
gruff but lovable. And the bottom line is people like that, right? So, but why? Because it is, in fact, authentic. And so what the Democratic Party has, in my opinion, is a very serious authenticity crisis. And the fact of the matter is, we don't have to say everybody's got to be likable, everybody's got to have a great track record, everybody's got to be this. But they do have to have a sense that when this person is talking to you, they're not looking beyond you to see if a donor has walked in the room or something like that. I hear this all the time.
One moment in that Cuomo video that we played up top where some guy comes up to him and says, "You're my favorite candidate," and he's like, "Yeah, great," and you can see him kind of moving away from the guy, and I thought, oh gosh.
Whereas Mamdani in that situation would have hugged the guy, right? But this is not I don't want to overplay Mamdani. I'm not trying to tell you he is a national figure right now. This is a big thing to do. We're having this conversation about the Democratic Party.
Using him as a jumping off point.
Right. I was in New Glarus, Wisconsin. Population, it's around 2,000-3,000 folks, right? It's a small town in a rural county, relatively rural county in Wisconsin. I was out giving a speech and talking to a crowd of people in the auditorium behind the library, which they should hang some art. But, it's like a very plain room, and they had some cookies in the back. And so I'm there, and I'm talking to the folks, and in the midst of the kind of thing, I said, and I'm going out to New York City. I'm going to interview Zohran Mamdani. And the crowd erupted in thunderous applause.
Who is this crowd?
These are liberals.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you that.
Yeah.
No, they might even, some of them, actually, one of them actually came up to me and mentioned something that I'd said to you on the show that day.
So they're great people.
They're wonderful, the best people in the world. But what I'm telling you is, I'm sorry, this is New Glarus, Wisconsin, and they were into this. Why are they into this? It's not because they're into
He's translating, but in order to... Donald Trump won Wisconsin last time around. So
20,000 votes.
You need more than just the liberals who have heard of Zohran Mamdani and are interested in him. Who is the candidate right now that can reach out and find those voters that stayed home or decided to try Donald Trump and the Republicans? I mean, the perception of the Democratic Party right now is terrible. It's terrible.
The polling numbers are
it's not me saying, it's the polling numbers that folks are putting out there. What I have the numbers in front of me somewhere. 28%. 28% of a favorable opinion of the Democratic Party, the lowest mark for Dems in the history of this CNN poll. There's a word cloud that was done about the Democratic Party. What's the first word that comes to your mind when you think about the Democrats? And the biggest words were weak.
Oh, my God. Corrupt, liberal, right after it.
Corrupt, liars. I mean...
And you want to know something terrible about that poll for Democrats?
Yeah.
The 19% that said they don't know, I guarantee are Democrats who just didn't want to say how much they don't like the party.
So how do they fix that?
Don't have to.
No, I think they do.
Well, they do.
You're trying to tell me that Donald Trump is just going to be so terrible it doesn't matter?
That's not my point. My point is that politics in America is not about, a bunch of Democrats getting together and having a forum where they figure out how they're going to fix their problem, right? They have to have a candidate organically come forward, win those primaries, and actually excite people, right? And suddenly the Democratic Party becomes something different. The Democratic Party in the 1920s was a disaster. I mean, they lost and lost and lost, and they couldn't figure their way out of a box. It was a disastrously messed up political party. 1932, this guy from New York, son of privilege, Franklin Roosevelt, runs for president, says nothing to fear but fear itself, a few other things. Suddenly, everybody's like, you know what? I love Democrats. And so I don't want to overemphasize the personalities. There's a lot of factors here. But I want to tell you, we don't know who the Democratic nominee is going to be. And that's probably for the Democrats a very good thing.
You're talking about authenticity.
Yeah.
How much... It's been hard for Democrats to be authentic because Democrats have been living in a world where they're policed by their own. You can't say that. Got to say it this way. Be careful. Don't talk to this person because this person has said things in the past that we don't agree with, so you can't go on their show. And this is the conversation around Kamala Harris.
Oh, it's a Rogan thing. Yeah.
Like it really pens you in and makes it and makes your world small. Your ability to get out there and communicate limited. how should the Democrats treat what has been a very politically correct environment over the last 10 years?
Yeah,
in reaction to Donald Trump's severely
politically
incorrect and at times cruel
Donald Trump has played that,
behavior.
Right? He actually said in his 2016 campaign, he said, we don't have time for political correctness. We don't have time to be polite, right? One of my friends was a British parliamentarian named Tony Benn. He was the longest serving Labour Party member of Parliament. And an older guy at this point. And as the Labour Party in England evolved and people asserted different communities and stuff like that, he said, you know what? None of this bothers me at all. This is what my mom used to call politeness. You know, people would like us to respect who they are and things like that. And I don't think that's the problem. I don't think being, respectful of groups and being respectful of individuals is the problem. I do think it's the second part of what you were saying. What show you will go on.
Who you'll engage with.
This is an interesting thing. I don't have a problem with being really respectful of where people are coming from and what they ask you to pay attention to. I think that's wonderful. I think we evolve, we get better as human beings. But I think when you say, I'm not going to go on Joe Rogan as an example because I don't like some of, the vitamin supplements or whatever. I don't even know what people, that's ridiculous. And you know what? Here's the interesting thing. I had a friend who was a radio host for a long, long time, and for years, and he was sort of a shock jock doing political radio. And people would say to me, because I did his show quite a bit, and people would say to me, should I go on that guy's show? Because, he's pretty rough there. I said, you know what? If you go on his show, you're going to be amazed by how much more he respects you and how much better you get along, right? And sometimes you have to go into that space on a regular basis.
What if it's just a big fight?
Then it's just a big fight. You walk away, you do the next show, right? You know what I mean? Come on.
Don't be afraid to make mistakes or to have a bad headline. Just keep powering through.
Look, if you're so weak that you go on a show and there's a big fight and you're destroyed by that, then you were going to get knocked down by something else, right? It's better to go on and do it.
Run the gauntlet.
It is. And we're seeing a small number of Democrats now go on Rogan's show. And you know what? Each one that's gone on has had a pretty good experience, right? That's been a real conversation. He tends to say in the midst of the interview, I kind of really like where you're coming from there. And so I would argue that being polite and respectful is not the problem. Being hyper cautious about being with somebody that you disagree with, that's the problem.
What about pushing back on cancel culture, though? Pushing back on cancel culture.
Look, I don't want people to be canceled. I think that it's good to bring people back into the, if somebody's done something wrong, you respect them and hopefully, bring them back in the mix.
What about fostering an environment for debate?
That's a different thing. I'm going to argue, right?
Is it different? Because sometimes people will say, I can't even get into the debate. I can't talk about this idea. I can't push this perspective, or I can't try to sharpen this agenda item, because if I go there, then I'm going to get shouted down on social media, or something's going to happen to me on the street because someone's going to see it and they're going to get angry.
It may happen. Yeah, look, but social media right now, oh my goodness. You look at what's out there, you could have the best appearance in the world and you still are going to get something, right? It's so at the end of the day, I think what we're really talking about here with Democrats is kind of figuring out what they're going to be in the 21st century, right?
Does it involve fostering younger candidates?
Of course. If you grew up with social media, you're going to be better at it, right? You're going to be more comfortable with it. The speed of it is sort of the key. The fact that it's just coming so rapidly.
Yeah.
And if you're a young person, you've actually come up with that. But there's another part of it, too. I think that a lot of older Democrats will look at social media and they'll say, I need to learn its rules, right? I need to learn how it operates. No, you need to come in. You can say who you are. The best example is, who is the oldest guy in American politics right now?
Bernie Sanders?
And who masters social media? And does he do it by saying, hey, kids, what are you saying today? No, Bernie Sanders is like walking, he's out in front of the office building going, I want to talk to you about tax policy today, right?
Yeah.
And 3 million views.
So even if you have like the millennial, what do they call it? The millennial blink, the millennial pause in the beginning of the video, it's fine, power through it.
You just do. And I mean, look, I honestly believe that if you look at people who are very, very good on social media, and AOC is very good. She does it very, very well. It's so fluid. It's so casual.
Can she win in the Midwest?
I've seen her in the Midwest in front of crowds of people who respond very, very well. She knows how to talk to people.
Can she appeal to independents and maybe some on-the-fence Republicans?
It's a lot of work, right? I mean, I'm not going to...
Because Bernie can.
Yes,
Bernie can.
And she's gone with him to these events.
There's a full circle there.
Yeah. And I think one of the things about AOC, which we could do a whole show, I think AOC was elected in 2018 and was a certain person, came in a certain way. I think she still has the same values.
I think she's changed.
She has grown immensely.
Developed.
In her political skills. Yeah. Right. And this is what you want. In politics, you don't want people...
That's the word I'm looking for,
evolved. You don't want people who come as one thing and never change.
And you know what, John? You're never going to be that guy because you always come as you are, Mr. Wisconsin.
I am.
Who has a little bit of a Canadian accent sometimes, ventures a little bit into a New York accent. You never can quite tell.
Do you know, I had somebody confront me. They said, I saw Katie Tursch. It sounded like she was trying to make you move to New York. and I said, well, I spent a decent amount of time in New York, and I respect it, but I'm, deep-rooted in Wisconsin. And that's just reality.
My mom, who's my most loyal viewer, heard the same thing, so it wasn't just me. John Nichols, thanks so much for doing this with us.
Super honored. What a pleasure.
Thanks.